सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Happy Sankranti, happy Pongal, happy Lori, happy Uttarayan. So I have covered from Dakshin to Uttar almost every celebration out there. So may this year bring bountiful, because this is supposed to be a harvest festival. So may this season bring the bounty and a great year to look forward, to be cherished by everybody. May that Lord bring in all that auspiciousness and blessings into each one of our lives. So happy Pongal, Sankranti, Lori and Uttarayan again. Thank you. So now we are in the 33rd shloka. So where am I counting it from? From Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaru, that being the first shloka. After that, this is the 33rd shloka. And today we will be marking the 300th one. 3 centuries. So repeat the shloka after me. Yugadikrit yugavarto Yugadikrit yugavarto Naikamayo mahashanaha Adrishyo vyaktarupascha Sahasrajitanandajit Yugadikrit yugavartaha Naikamayaha mahashanaha Adrishyaha vyaktarupaha Sahasrajit anantajit. So the 300th word is Yugadikrit. Yugadikrit, the one who is not just the giver of time, which we saw yesterday, Bhuta Bhavya Bhavannatha. He is not just the Lord of the time, but he is also the Lord who has created these Chatur Yuga, Yugadikrit, Yuga Adikrit. Now this Yuga, according to the Hindu scriptural texts, and this is where many people tend to use the word, the Hindu mythology. I feel like getting up and then smacking one on it. It is not mythology, it is the Hindu scriptures or the Hindu past. In the Hindu scriptures, time is calculated very precisely. In the Aruna Prashna is the glory of Lord Sun. There is one entire paragraph. It's a formula. According to that formula, we can calculate the time taken by the light to travel. And it is calculated with precision that there is absolutely no discrepancy even today with what the modern sciences have said. In another paragraph, it talks about the distance between Earth and the Sun, the Earth and the Moon, Moon and the Sun, which has a variation to the 10th decimal by 0.3. 0.0000.0000. That much is the precision with which they have given. So why am I talking about light here? Because the calculation of the time, there has to be certain standard. Like today we have the standards of what do you call them? The standard of weight, standard of measurement. So in the past, the rishis have had certain standard. How do you calculate time? The smallest particle of calculated time is when the light passes through the compound which has 3 molecules of oxygen. Literally meaning when the light passes through the atmosphere, Earth's atmosphere, there is the ozone. 3 molecules of oxygen is found only there. And if you draw the circle around that ozone, from one end of the diameter to the other end of that ozone molecule, the time taken for the light to travel is the smallest calculated time. It is called Trisranu. Trisra is 3 molecules. Trisranu is a 3-moleculed small particle, and the time taken for the light to travel from this end of the diameter to the other end is the smallest calculated time. And then there are various calculations that come. Finally comes the second, and the second 60 seconds make 1 minute, 60 minutes make 1 hour, and 24 hours make 24 point something makes 1 day, and 365 days make 1 year. So in the Chatur Yuga, there are 4 yugas. Have you ever wondered why the first yuga is called the Krita Yuga? The second one is called Treta Yuga. Then it is called Dwapara Yuga. And now the one that we are living in, it is called Kali Yuga. The reason is that Kali Yuga has 432,000 years. 4,32,000. 432,000 years. Dwapara, because it is twice Kali Yuga. So how much is the time span of Kali Yuga? 864,000. 864,000 years is Dwapara Yuga. Treta Yuga, why is it called Treta? 3 times Kali Yuga. So that is 1.2. Here we precise. 1.296 million years. Somebody is writing down all that. It is called the Krita Yuga because it is 4 times Kali Yuga. So 4 times 432,000. 1728 1.728 million years. Now if you add Kali Yuga plus Dwapara plus Treta plus Krita Yuga, how much do you get? Take your time. $4.32 million years. Ten times. 4.32 million years. And the science and the Hindu scriptures meet at this point, because both of them, when calculate the date of earth, is about 4 million years is what they say. When was Ramji? Ramavatara? It was in Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga meaning how many thousands of years? 1.296 plus 864,000 years plus 5,000 years of Kali Yuga. That many years old is the history of Bhagavan Ramchandra ji. Usually when I'm in public platforms, I don't usually, I just say the thousands of years. Today we are talking about it, so therefore, now imagine 1.296 plus 864,000 plus 5,000 years. Can you provide a physical proof for it? Many of our children ask, right? What is the proof that Rama existed? The same proof that your great-grandfather existed. You don't have a physical proof. All that you can say that because your grandfather existed, then your parent exists, and now you exist, therefore your great-grandfather existed. Physically you cannot provide any other proof. That many millions of years old. At least is the concept getting across. So 1.296 plus 864 is about 2 million plus. 2 million plus years old. To find even a relic is difficult. But traditionally, Ayodhya is a place where we have been worshipping for that many years as the birthplace of Bhagavan Sri Ramchandra ji. And nobody had any business to break that temple to build anything else there. Am I getting across? That many years, that many generations, that many millions of years of worship. And suddenly somebody comes and snatches it couple of thousand years ago. I don't want to take this into a political standpoint right now. So about 2 million years old is Bhagavan Ramchandra ji. Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yugante Bhagavan Krishna. By the end of Krishna Avatara starts Kali Yuga. So that is how many years old? 5,130 plus years. So can you provide physical proof for Bhagavan Krishna at least? few. The entire Dwarka Nagari, which is submerged under the ocean, off of the Gulf of Kutch, that's what it is called, right? Gulf of Kutch. If you go into YouTube and Google or search, you will find umpteen videos about all the research being done. And this was first identified by the independent Indian government in late 60s, that there is a submerged city, huge city, and that when carbon dated gives approximately the time frame which is equivalent to what? Bhagavan Krishna's time period. Then in Dwarka is done. Mathura, Vrindavan, Govardhan, you still find the proof. How many of you have been to Mathura? Shri Krishna Janmasthana. Oh, very good, lot of you. Shri Krishna Janmasthana. It's a prison. Shamelessly, many politicians, instead of saying that I have wronged the society, therefore I am being imprisoned, they claim, I am just going to Shri Krishna Janmasthana. Meaning I am going to the jail. I am going to the prison. That was about 5,130 plus years. So in Krita Yuga, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Bhagavan Narasimha, and all those avatars in the Krita Yuga, then in the Treta Yuga, then in the Dwapara Yuga. Buddha was not long ago, just few thousand years ago. So you have the Yugadikrit, the one who creates this beautiful Yuga, starting from the Krita Yuga, Treta, Dwapara and Kali Yuga. In each Yuga, the human beings have reduced in their lifespan, in their size, in their appearance. They have been shrunk. The first time I read that concept, I remembered the movie Honey, I Shrunk Your Kids. That's what Bhagavan Narayana must have said to Lakshmi. By the time they come to Kali Yuga, honey, I shrunk your kids. And what do I make this hypothesis? In Bhagavata, there is a story of Muchukunda. Do you remember the story of Muchukunda? Bhagavan Krishna was being attacked on one side by Jarasandha. As he escapes and runs away from there, there is another fellow who is attacking, and his name was Kala Yavana, and he was from what we call further west of Gandhara Desha, which is Afghanistan. Today's Afghanistan, Kandahar, west of that. So that must be today's Iran, Iraq, somewhere in that Middle East area. So India has been attacked not just recently from that Middle East, it's not a trouble today. It has been under that attack even then. And that fellow's name was Kala Yavana. And that is why the Muslims in Hindi, they are called Yahudi, because they are the lineage of Yavana, Kala Yavana. And he comes into this and he wants to vanquish Bhagavan Krishna. And Bhagavan Krishna tries, he is now in a running spree, running away from Jarasandha. As he is running away from Jarasandha, he thinks that yes, now we have have a safe distance between me and Jarasandha. Suddenly enters Kala Yavana. Again I have to run. So Bhagavan again starts running. He indicates to Balarama to take care of the last batch that is going back to Dwaraka. So Bhagavan alone is being chased by Kala Yavana. Finally he hides in a mountain cave, leaving the breadcrumbs for Kala Yavana to follow him up to that cave. In that cave, Kala Yavana sees somebody sleeping or hiding or crouching in there. Now this Kala Yavana, with all his arrogance, kicks that person. And that person happens to be Muchukunda. Now this Muchukunda was from the Krita Yuga, not from Dwapara Yuga, Krita Yuga. So few million years old. He had helped Bhagavan Indra to establish the Indrapuri and help him vanquish all the Asuras at that time. So in the time frame of the Devas, he helped him for a few years without sleep and food. By the end of that war and re-establishing these Devas, Muchukunda, the king, was tired. Was so tired that when Bhagavan asked him, "You have done such help for all the Devatas to be settled, ask any boon." And Muchukunda, in that weariness of his help, he says, "Bhagavan, I need a long sleep. And if anybody disturbs my sleep, wakes me up, my first sight, they would be turned into ashes." So Bhagavan knew this because he was the one who gave the boon. So he goes, hides behind that Muchukunda, and Muchukunda is kicked awake by Kala Yavana. So Muchukunda turns around, opens his eyes, and Kala Yavana is dust. So Bhagavan Krishna comes out. And because Bhagavan Krishna is in his Nija Swarupa, Muchukunda recognizes his Lord. And he says, "Bhagavan, I am so glad that when I woke up, I have your darshan." And then they step out of the cave. As they step out of the cave, Muchukunda is surprised to look at all the things around him. He says, "What is all this? What are these shrubs? And what are those tiny little creatures that are running around?" So Bhagavan says, "This is not Krita Yuga anymore. This is the end of Dwapara Yuga. That's why you find the trees almost to the height of a shrub. And that little creatures that you are talking about, these are cows." So Muchukunda says, "Holy cow, these are cows?" Because in Krita Yuga, the sizes of these animals were different. The plants and the plant kingdom was of a totally different size. So the average size in each yuga has been reducing. Balarama was a 7-footer. Balarama is Bhagavan Krishna's older brother. He is a 7-footer. And he is married to Renuka Devi. Now there is a story about Renuka Devi also. Renuka Devi's father was so proud of Renuka Devi that she was well educated. She knew in and out the entire scriptures. And she knew of the 64 different colors, different kinds of arts. She knew all of them. And she was well accomplished in all kinds of things. And nobody at that time he found suitable for her to get her married. So he goes straight to Brahmaloka. And Brahmaji says, I'm little busy, a couple of minutes, I'll come back to you. By the time Brahmaji comes back to address this Renuka's father, both Renuka and his father are there in Brahmaloka. He says, yes, how can I help you? So Renuka's father introduces us. He says, I know who she is. Now tell me why you have come. We are trying to find a suitable match for her. A suitable boy. So Brahmaji gapes at them and says, do you even know that in Bhuloka, on the earth, what yuga it is now? You have been waiting here for about 3 yugas. You came in Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga is done, now it is Dwapara Yuga. And Brahmaji quickly scans the earth, the entire population, and says, I think there is only one suitable guy for your daughter. And there she gets married to Balarama. And Balarama, the first sight of her, she is almost double his height. Krita Yuga. I don't know how, but the only explanation given there is he puts his plough that he carried as his astra around her neck and pulls her down to his height. So she is reduced to his height. That's what it is said. Now imagine whatever you have to imagine. So in each yuga there has been the size, shape and the age and various aspects of yuga have changed. And many of us wonder, maybe in those years the time was calculated different. Time has been always calculated the same way. Maybe they had longer days or we have shorter days. Not much of a difference. So this entire yuga, and I have just stopped at the yugas because in Brahmaji's one day there is another calculation. Then Brahmaji's tenure, there are 14 kalpas. So whenever we come to that aspect, we will discuss that later. Yuga Adikrit, the one who has given us these 4 yuga cycles. Yugavartaha. Yugavartaha, the one who has this amazing power to keep the time in a constant loop. What happens after the Kali Yuga? Krita Yuga again starts. The end of Kali Yuga, human beings have set auto-destruct mode on. Because all the natural resources have been depleted, and the kind of description of the end of Kali Yuga is horrifying. I have read it in Vishnu Purana, I have read it in Padma Purana, Bhagavat Purana, Bhavishyat Purana. Very horrifying. The end days of Kali Yuga. And don't worry, because it is 432,000 years. 2012 people came and said, is the world coming to an end? It has just started. Kali Yuga has just started. I said, don't worry. Even in that 432,000 years, we have not even 5,000 years in the first quarter. How many of you do puja at home? or do Sandhya Vandana at home. So when you do, there is a sankalpa. In that sankalpa, we say Vaivasvata Manvantare Ashta Vimshatitame Kali Yuge Prathame Pade. In the Kali Yuga, the first quarter is where we are. And then it is Ramanaka Varshe, Krauncha Dvipe. This is supposed to be Krauncha Dvipa, this continent. The North American continent is called Krauncha Dvipa. Trinity Nadyam Sannidhau. Dallas is next to the Trinity river. I have never seen it flow so far. Anyways, so when you do that sankalpa, you are talking about Kali Yuga, Prathama Pada, in just 5,100 years. There are still 3 quarters left. And even in the first quarter, it's just like the wheel has just taken one spin. I wish, pray, hope to that Almighty that those who are hearing it, that in this very life you get moksha. By chance, by whatever thing you miss, at least in next couple of lives, realize. Within the first quarter. Yeah, 108,000 years, of which we are just to 5,100 something. So Yugavartaha, the one who not just creates the yuga, but also nicely loops it in circles. So what happens at the end of this 432,000 years? Human beings have set in a self-destruct mode. So the entire creation goes for an amazing rebuild. Everything is, like all the natural elements are exhausted. It goes into a hibernation. So who survives? Handful of human beings survive. Few survive. I mean, with the existing population, when you compare it, handful of them survive. Therefore, in Satya Yuga, when the next cycle begins, all the resources are umpteen and human beings are few. See, the pralaya that happens wherein, which is one common story between Hindu, Muslim, Jewish and the Christians. They call it, we call it Matsyavatara, they call it Noah's Ark. There's one common story wherein all the specimens of all species are gathered on one capsule. You call it boat, capsule, whatever. And then once the water recedes, then they are distributed according to their climatic choices. So they are redistributed, and again it starts. So the cycle continues. So the one who not just creates this universe, creates the entire time loop, it creates the yugas, and creates the consistency of this loop to go again and again. Yugavartaha Naikamayaha Na Ekamaya. There are various meanings of this particular. Adi Shankaracharya ji says that which is not bound by any Maya. We are all bound by Maya. Maya at the individual level is called our own avidya. At the totality level, she is called Maya Shakti. And Paramatma runs the show through his Maya Shakti. But is he dependent on that Maya Shakti? Na eka Maya. He is not dependent on the Maya Shakti. He can exist without his Shakti expressed. He can exist independent of his Shakti. Very simple to understand. It's not that complicated. Relax your eyes, because all of you are like, what exactly are you trying to say? A simple concept. Can you all sing? I'm not qualifying the singing process. Can you all sing good? Can you all sing bad? No. Can you all sing?
Yeah.
Can you exist independent of your skill to sing? Meaning, can you stop singing?
Others will be happy.
Oh, definitely. Others will definitely be happy around. Can you speak? Can you exist independent of your speaking? Last year when we were having the Yuva Kendra's YEP, Youth Empowerment Program, it was such a tough job. Evenings from this time to this time, practice mauna. I was sitting there and watching them, and I keep staring at them. Oh, mauna time, right? And then I did it around the corner again. If you have a certain Shakti, you can always withdraw that Shakti and exist independent of that Shakti. Can you? Similarly, Paramatma is not bound by his Shakti. Shakti is dependent on Paramatma. Paramatma is not a dependable variable on that Shakti. Because if Paramatma were to take support of anything else, isn't that support greater than Paramatma then? But he stays independent of that Shakti. Another meaning of this Naika Maya is the one who expresses himself into this creation, and that expression is beyond Maya. All of us express through Maya. From that totality, all these individuals come. And for us to be where we are and what we are doing, there is the principle of causation. Our earlier past has evolved into this present. Whatever I did in the past has given me the present. What I do with this present is the cause for my future. So the past, present, future, there is this cause and effect. So the past is the cause, present is the effect. The present is also the cause for the future, which is the effect. We are the effects of this law of causation, which is what Maya expanding. Paramatma expresses into this creation not through this law of causation. He is not bound by Maya, or he does not express through Maya. Which one Mahatma Ji was explaining. The first time I heard it, my jaw dropped. This is a whole new concept. He said that for us to, as we have the subtle reason as the law of causation, similarly, the entire body that we are existing in and living as is made of the Pancha Tattva: earth, water, fire, air, space. 5 tattvas. They permutation and combination of these, they solidify, and then we express into various formats. Some tall, some short, some thin, some fat, some round, some white, some black, some brown, whatever is the shape, size, color differences. We are born. But the basic material is the 5 elements. When Paramatma expresses, his entire expression, there is no 5 elements. His entire form is the very conscious principle expressing. Am I getting across? There is no material involved for his avatar. All his avatars were pure consciousness expressing in one form. Can the consciousness take such form? Yes, those avatars are the consciousness expressing in a form. Therefore, there was never any kind of mala, impurity in that form. Impurity is in the Pancha Tattva. But in him, in his expression, there is absolutely no impurity, because it is pure consciousness expressing. Does that concept get across? Naika Maya. He is beyond Maya, independent of Maya. He expresses into this creation not like us who express through Maya, through the Panchikarana and the 5 elements expressing in different combinations, but he expresses as pure consciousness. So when he is expressing himself as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vamana, Parashurama, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, the various forms that he has expressed, all these forms are pure conscious expressions. Naika Mayaha Yugadikrit Yugavarto Naika Mayo Mahashanaha. Mahashanaha, the most hungry one. Maha Ashanaha. Ashana means hunger. Pipasa is Pipasa. Pipasa means to have thirst. Hunger and thirst. Ashana, Pipasa. Maha Ashanaha, great hunger. Maha means great. That anything can be devoured by him, eaten by him, consumed by him. So there are various meanings. I'll take a couple of shades of meanings. What is it that eats away anything and everything without any kind of prejudices? Kalaha Jagat Bhakshakaha. Kala, time. Doesn't it eat everything away? Whether it is an erudite scholar or a stupid fool, whether it is a rich person or a poor person, whether it is white, black, blue, brown, whatever be the color of skin, whether they are born into palaces or into some poverty, whether they live on hills or in the plains, whether they live in the trees or on the trees or below the tree, doesn't matter. Everybody is consumed by that kala. The most beautiful graphic description of this kala devouring the entire creation is given in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That is called the Rudra Amsha of that Vishwarupa, wherein he is just, sucking up all these people in. And Arjuna is seeing all these. He sees Drona, Bhishma, Karna, Duryodhana, Dushyasana, everybody being consumed. Kalaha Jagat Bhakshakaha. A very impartial Kala. It does not care if you have money, if you are smart, if you are beautiful, if you are not smart, if you are not beautiful. Equanimously consumes everything, every person, every place, everything is done. Kalaha Maha Ashanaha. Kala is one form. Time. On a different level, he is the one. When we offer ourselves and surrender ourselves at his feet, he is the one who consumes all the layers of vasanas from within to leave us pure in that abidance of consciousness. Funnily, one of our Swamijis, he says that when you go to the Lord, give him that as a gift which he does not have. He has everything else in this creation. What does he not have in abundance, which we have in abundance? He does not have ignorance. We are established in ignorance. He does not have kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsara. We have it in abundance. So when we go to the Lord, see, the arati is done. The arati is offered through a piece of camphor. So what is that camphor? It represents the entire collective vasana of that individual. O Lord, I offer myself unto you completely. And where do you borrow that light? It is from the lamp which is already lit there. You light it and put it on the plate, and that glow of that burning camphor is to see what? From toe to head, that beautiful darshan of that Lord. What happens to that camphor? Is there anything left? No trace. The only trace that is left is the beautiful fragrance that comes off once the entire camphor is burnt away. Similarly, O Lord, may I offer unto you at your feet this huge mass of ignorance, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsara, vasanas that I am, and you are the only one that can devour all these things and merge me into thy existence. Upanishad also says, Yame vesha vrunute tena labhyaha. We go offer, that is our end of bargain. What is his end of bargain? Is to pull us up to his stature and merge us into that infinite. So once in a Balavihar class, long time ago, he said, how will you pray to the Lord? Was one of the questions that I asked. So this kid, he said, I love Krishna and I know how to pray to him. I said, how? He said, I will fall at his feet and hold on to his feet tightly. He is already on 1.5 foot. So me holding on to him tightly should imbalance him, and because of that imbalance he should quickly bend down and grab me and take me close to him. One day. And still he doesn't. Then his feet are anyway in my hands. I start tickling them. Can you visualize? Because that will definitely destabilize him from that standing posture. He has no other way but to pick me up and grab me closest to him. Whatever is the method, he is the only one who has the absolute capacity to clean us up from within completely. But we need that courage to offer ourselves unquestioned at his feet. Maha Ashanaha. Yugadikrit yugavarto naikamayo mahashanaha. Adrishyaha. Adrishyaha, he cannot be perceived by, he cannot be grasped by any possible means that we already hold. We cannot see, we cannot taste, we cannot touch, we cannot smell. Adrishyaha. And then people come, sometimes they say, Swamiji, in my meditation, I am seeing lights. Well, then you are qualified to get into a movie, Tare Zameen Par. Next time you meditate and see these lights, bring them. I'll use it in Saket and Chitrakoot. You always poke fun at her. I really am seeing lights. If it is drishya, it is not the truth. It is not the ultimate. As the mind gets subtler, it can have such glimpses, visions. But as long as the mind is able to see, project anything, because Paramatma is not a projection of mind, he is not a concept of the intellect, he is not a memory of the chitta, he is not something that can be grasped or consumed through any one of the organs of perception or action. adrishya. Through these means that have been explained, to find that Paramatma is impossible. Adrishya. Then the devotee in us feels really scared. Man, how do I know you if you are so inaccessible? Therefore, Paramatma says, Vyakta Rupaha. Vyakta Rupaha, he can appear in this creation, in that creation wherein he is impossible to be perceived. But he makes it a possibility through various forms of expression. Vyakta Rupaha. When the devotee really called for him, did he not appear through a pillar? In the Nrsimha Avatara, when an animal called for him, Gajendra. If you are a Punjabi, then it is Gajendra. It is not Jita Indra, it is Jitendra. Similarly, it is Gajendra. So Gajendra, when he finally was caught by that crocodile, Makara, Makar Rasi. Today is Makar Sankranti, right? So he was caught by the Makara. And out of complete desperate call, did Bhagavan not appear for that Pashu, Gajendra? When the little children like Prahlada, Dhruva, Nachiketa called for him, did he not appear? That's why I like that song when the kids sing. लोग कहते हैं कि भगवान आते नहीं. People say that Bhagavan doesn't come. But then you don't call him like Draupadi, like the Gajendra. लोग कहते हैं कि भगवान खाते नहीं. Thankfully. Because he is Mahashana. If he starts eating, probably nothing will be left for us. लोग कहते हैं भगवान खाते नहीं, he doesn't eat. And the answer is, तुम शबरी की तरह खिलाते नहीं. You don't feed with the intensity of Shabari. For us it is just a chore, another step in the puja. Om Prana Sapana. And we don't even wait to see if he is relishing something, eating something, or even visualize mentally. Before even that, Om Prana Sapana, and then Hatto Prakshalayami, Patho Prakshalayami, Mukhya, done. I used to fight with my mom because in the Naivedya, the thali, everything little has been put and everything is like, merging into everything. In that little plate, everything is slammed in, to 5, 6, 10 or whatever number of items have been cooked. Everything has been slammed into that. I said, when you want to feed, why don't you put a complete leaf and be liberal in serving? Let him have a space to mix and enjoy what you have cooked. I said, time nahi hai. Okay, theek hai. So when you sit to eat, Sometimes I have seen people that in the same place, thali or in the plate, where they have had their last bit, they don't want to eat their sweet. It has to be in a separate. Achha. For you, everything has to be separate, neat, clean. Feed him properly. लोग कहते हैं कि तुम खाते नहीं, तुम सबरी की तरह खिलाते कहाँ हो? लोग कहते हैं कि भगवान he doesn't sleep. माँ यशोदा की तरह तुम सुलाते नहीं. Have you heard Guruji sing that beautiful bhajan? It's called Alarave, Halarave Dularai. Mother Yashoda is trying to put that Krishna to sleep. She is actually addressing that sleep. Why don't you come and make his eyelids heavy so that he'll fall asleep. Mere laal ko aau nindariya. This is the time for my little Krishna to sleep. There's a beautiful thought there. So Yashoda, she had done that punya to put that Krishna to sleep. तुम यशोदा की तरह सुलाते नहीं. So if you can transform yourself at his feet, then he is Vyakta Rupaha. Namdev's father used to go to Pandharpur, where he was the priest, head priest. So in Pandharpur he would go offer Naivedya and then bring that pot of Naivedya back home, and everybody at home partake. One day, usually when his father was not there, his older brother would go do the same thing and come back. So one day both of them had to go out of place. So they said, little Namadeva, go feed, do the Naivedya, today it is your turn. So he used to see that for Naivedya the doors are closed. He takes the cooked whatever Naivedya inside, closes the door and puts that pot of whatever has been cooked in front of Vithoba. There Bhagavan Krishna is, the reason he is called Vithoba is he is standing on a Vitha. Vitha is a brick. He is standing on a Vitha. So he also goes, stands in front of that Vithoba and then says, eat. And there is no movement. And then he makes such a big fuss inside and says, you coming to eat or not? My father says, my brother says that they come here to feed you. So I've been thinking that they come here to feed you and you partake food from them and not from me. It's a child. But the child's innocence is demanding him to come there. And before everything escalates, Bhagavan says, okay Baba, I'll come. So Bhagavan comes down and he feeds Bhagavan. And there is a famous Abhanga wherein he steals the pan, the tambula, which has to be given after the food. He steals it from Bhagavan's hand and eats it himself. So if you can transform yourself to that intensity of a devotee, Bhagavan makes sure that he is not Adrishya, but he is Vyakta Rupaha. And sometimes he comes in the form of these visions. They are like dreams, but they are not dreams. When Bhagavan, Devata, or Devalaya or Tirtha Kshetra, Shastra and Guru. When these five appear in your sleep, they are called visions. So he is not adrishya, he becomes vyakta rupa. Another Mahatma defines this vyakta rupa as he is there in this world as the nama. And the more we chant that nama, it transforms itself into namamrita. He is appearing right on your tongue as the namavatar. So that is his vyakta rupa. It is not some name, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, chanting. It is the very expression of the Lord in your being, with that vibration, with that sound. Adrishyo vyakta rupascha sahasrajit anantajit. He is called Sahasrajit. Sahasrajit, there was this Asura with 1,000 hands, and Bhagavan with single hand vanquished him. In my imagination, it must have been an easy thing, because his 1,000 hands must have been confused with each other. So with one hand it was easy to defeat the one who has 1,000 hands. He must have been completely out of focus. Before he could think, should I use this weapon or this weapon or that weapon or that weapon? Bhagavan has already struck and he is already done. Sahasrajit. The subtler meaning of it is that who is attained, jita, attained, when the entire Shakti of that seeker reaches the Sahasrara. From the Mooladhara, when the Shakti, Kundalini Shakti raises and reaches to the Sahasrara, which is at the Kapala, at the forehead, head. When that Shakti raises there and completely fills Sahasrajita, having reached where you attain the Paramatma. As yesterday I was saying, that these names are not just indicating some stories. There are various rahasya, various themes that have been explored in trying to identify these 1,000 beautiful names of the Lord. One of the processes which most of us in Chinmaya Mission at least we don't talk much about is called there are various names for it. It is called Ashtanga Yoga, then it is called Kriya Yoga. It is also known as the Hatha Yoga. Various names for the same thing. So the process is that through the Sushumna Nadi, there is one subtle nerve, Nadi. Through that nerve, the energy is raised, the Kundalini Shakti is raised from Mooladhara, which is at the base of the spinal cord. And through that Sushumna Nadi, which is at the center of the spinal cord, the Shakti raises through various chakras. And the final chakra is called the Sahasrara. That Shakti, when it finally culminates into that Sahasrara, what you attain is that Paramatma, Sahasrajita. One meaning is he has killed thousands of Rakshasas in protecting Paritranaya Sadhuna, in protecting all the sadhu. Now one thing you have to question yourself there is, Am I that qualified sadhu? We keep praying, we keep complaining that why doesn't Bhagavan come? Are you in his chosen list? So once I was explaining to some of these Balvihar kids, Brahmaji, Saraswati, she has a book. So what is that book? List of all the people that they are going to protect. The kids immediately ask, how do I know that my name is there? So I said, the next 7 days, the camp was for 7 days. Next 7 days, if you do this, I'll make sure that your name is there in that book. To protect the sadhu, he has vanquished thousands of demons. To uplift the seeker from within, he has to vanquish or help us vanquish thousands of desires, sahasra, from within. Where are all the demons? Up here in our own self. Sahasrajita. And the final meaning is that Kundalini Shakti raises through the Sushumna Nadi, from the Mooladhara, going through various chakras, finally culminating into the Sahasrara, and that is when you attain Jita, Sahasrajita. Now what do you attain? Anantajita. You attain that Lord or that Lordship which is endless. So once you gain that experience, it is unlike any other experience of the worldly realm, because they end. Thankfully, right? This class starts at 7:30. Thankfully, by 9 o'clock, don't need to look all the way behind. I'll let you know. Thank you. See, you're meticulously turning all the way back. This comes to an end. Anything that starts has an end. But the experience of that ultimate experience of that Paramatma is Ananta. That is the culmination of the seeker's trail. To realize that Paramatma in this very lifetime, instead of postponing it because we cannot handle just couple of thousands of desires within our head. Sahasrajit. Then we become Anantajit. Now if we have to become Anantajita, then what do we have to do? We have to become Ishtaha. So that is the next shloka. Ishto Vishishta Sishteshta Shikhandi Nahusho Vrashaha Krodaha Krodha Kritkarta Vishwabahur Mahidharaha. Those of you who want to control or grow out of anger, this shloka is for them. 34th shloka. So if you are interested in learning, come tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.